Can you guys hear me? It's Jessica. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I am not letting those glitches get to me today. I tell you what, this is not a glitch in the matrix. This is my remote viewing show. Yet we have glitches. It's so great to see you guys here today. Thank you to everybody that's in my chat already. Thank you to all my moderators for being here. And thank you all for your friendship and for everybody being here to support me and Barry tonight. We have a great show lined up for us this evening. I was given another blind target by Barry. And y'all know there's no telling what I'm going to get whatsoever. And it turned out to be something super interesting. Okay. I remote viewed what is called an Orbs station device it's something that is in Mount Adams up in Washington. And we're going to talk about that tonight. We've got a lot to dig into. I did 3 separate targets for this. I kept getting deeper and deeper into this thing. And it was a little interesting because, well, we'll talk about it when I bring Barry up, because I didn't feel like I was super on target for this one with some of the data for what he was expecting, but my drawings were on point. Go figure, right? Okay, so if you guys would like to follow along with all of my shows and what I'm doing here, you can go to the cryptidhuntress.com. You'll find all of my shows there, all the events that I'm going to be speaking at, all the public stuff I'm going to be at. It's on my website. And also, I have a Patreon. That's the Cryptid Huntress over on Patreon. And all of my remote viewing data is posted there. And you guys are welcome to go become a member. And I want to give a huge thank you to all of my Patreon members that are here tonight watching. And you guys mean the world to me. I appreciate your support. And also, yes, I do have a shop. That's War Woman Goods, where you can get the biggest, best turquoise Native American antique jewelry. It's on Etsy, so you guys go check that out. Okay, awesome. Well, that takes care of all that business. Let's get to our show tonight. To help me with this amazing target that Barry gave me, I'm going to go ahead and bring up Barry after I give a synopsis, a little description of exactly what we're talking about tonight. Orbs stations are network centers for the docking of technology for advanced civilizations capable of travel between galaxies and super-galaxies. One of these Orbs station devices is said to be located within Mount Adams, the second largest mountain in Washington. It potentially is made of large crystals sending out a grid of energy and could be responsible for Orbs holograms, teleportation, and other anomalies. It was used by the ancients and may be housed in mountains across the world. Same kind of technology that the pyramids may or may not have harnessed. Okay, you guys. Well, help me welcome to the show my friend Barry Littleton.
Greetings. Hello, Jessica.
Hey, Barry. Hey, Barry. Thank you for being here tonight. This is going to be a treat, actually, for the audience, I think, because it covers everything. Okay, I've been talking about teleportation lately. I talk about orbs all the time. We don't know what orbs are, where they come from. I think you may have some answers, or maybe I do. I don't know.
Some of them, a few. Okay. This is very interesting, because a lot of this information you see here will have its origin with me, and okay. and I believe there's a documentary being done about the SETI Ranch. It'll be interesting. I want to see if they include this, but I want to make sure people know where the origin of it started. Okay. And this is on account of I was invited out there to speak at the SETI Ranch in 2016. It was 2 years after I came forward. And it was a trip, okay? First of all, I'm not a young man, all right? I'm like, what is the question that the Sphinx swooped down and asked Odysseus? He said, what creature goes on 4 legs in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 3 in the evening? And then when they couldn't answer it, he grub on them. But the answer is humans, human. And in the morning, we walk on 4. In the afternoon, the afternoon of our life, midways, we walk on 2. And towards the end, often we need a cane, we walk on 3. Oh. So I'm like not ready for 3, but yeah, I'm definitely not on all 4s either. Point being, I thought the point that having these experiences I've been having my whole life that just stopped my world were kind of finished. And then I get invited to speak out there. I was unprepared for how remote it was in the mountains. I start getting Sasquatch activity that I was unprepared for. I know they for sure existed. Okay, then I'm getting all this stuff going on. And the first year I was out there, I stayed there 2.5 weeks. And I'll tell you, I got blasted. Seeing the holographic mountain we talked about, what somebody else with me saw, you can't share that type of delusion. All right, the Sasquatch activity and all these things, including I don't sleep well, but the little that I did, I felt like I was going inside that mountain and something was happening.
Oh,
and I got so blasted
supernatural
out there,
kind of.
Extreme. Everything that happened to me out there was extreme from the first night I was there. I had these ships come up on me. I'm out in that field out there by myself at night, and I lost a little bit of time. You know, if it's just 10 or 15 minutes, 30 minutes, that's enough. The ships are coming close, and that place is a trip. All right. So anyway, point being, I got blasted so hard my first year in 2016 out there. I got invited to speak again in 2017 at their yearly conference for them. And so this time I had to know exactly what I was dealing with when I went out there. So about 3 weeks before that conference, I went and got a professional regression. And, you know, I am a hypnotist and have been for a while, but I learned to do this strictly so I could get my own missing time back. And then I could put other people under quick, but I couldn't do it to myself. So I had to go actually let somebody else, I had to actually go sit there, let somebody else take me deep, okay? And I wanted to know what happened out there. My specific target was SETI. And what comes out of that information is this crystalline thing in the middle of that mountain and in the side of it. There's a portal there, and there's also this crystalline device. Now I'm describing it during the regression and saying what it actually does, which is it's scanning people's soul memories like this lifetime, okay? It scans you, and like if you have an experience, it produces an orb through orb technology. That orb gets in your biofield, and it does something to push your consciousness forward, to keep you going forward and evolving. And when I say that, the people that have been out there, I know there's a bunch of people on this chat probably that have been out there. They know what I'm talking about. People that have see these UFOs coming in and out of that mountain that disappear. You got a lot of people that have seen Sasquatch walking across the field out there and they just disappear. That's been purported out there a lot. These are things that trigger our consciousness to go forward. All right. And this device is doing it. Now, taking this a step forward. Before I went out there in 2019, the third time I got invited to speak at their yearly conference, not long before that, the remote viewer, John Vavinko, can finally say his name correctly. It only took me years. John Vavinko, he had let out a thing that I posted for you and I on Facebook. It was a video that he did through his right hemisphere remote viewing company over called Remote Viewing the Ancient Aliens of the Aseti Ranch. And during this, his team drew that device. They drew this Merkaba type of device. Okay. Taking this forward, I have a great appreciation for the Keys of Enoch book, which I mysteriously don't have my copy here. I don't know where the heck it is. So I can't tell you the exact pages, but I've got videos over all this that tells you the pages to look at. All right. The Keys of Enoch had something called tripyramidal and bipyramidal Merkabahs that were actually ships turn off as metal ships and then turn into these crystalline Merkabahs. Now, I had seen a ship do this. All right. I called it the Morphing Organic UFO on my UFO channel or my YouTube channel. And let me tell you, this happened when I was about 18, 19. This pushed me to the brink. Okay. As far as seeing something actually do that, and I've been on board this ship, but you see something do like that, change its configuration like that, and it's actually materials. It's really a trip. But the first time I saw anyone explain this a little bit was in that book, Keys of Enoch by J.J. Hertog. And in there, your audience can look up what's called tripyramidal and bipyramidal Merkabahs. They give illustrations of it. Blew me away from where they actually look like ships and then turn into these things. So, okay, so going forward, this type of a technology, this crystalline luminosity that has this bioluminescence, chemical luminescence from the inside, Same as the crystals I've seen on board these craft, the ones that are either the brain or the power of other crafts. All right.
Mhm.
So this device now, to kind of support this, what this thing is doing, I not just wanted to meet John Vavinko to talk about that book, to show him the illustrations. He was blown away. And we did a video that's on my YouTube channel also. It's about an hour long, me, him, and this demon person. Anyway, but the information there is very, very valid. All right. And I think that, how can I say this? Okay, so in it was 2017 or 19, one of those years, yeah, we had to do, it's 2017. We had to, the people that presented had to lead a sky watch. And I don't mean to offend anyone, all right, but my butt is really not into sky watches, okay? I'm not into calling the ships in, because when you've had the type of contact I've had, you're not sure who you're calling in, and you start missing time. You look at that ship, and all of a sudden you're missing 4 or 5 missing time.
Yeah. I don't recommend it.
Yeah, even if it's a positive encounter like I had, it's disturbing, okay? And it's not really that much fun. And so I'm not really into the calling in ship thing, but each of us that was presenting had to do a sky watch. So when I did mine, it was about 100 people in there, 70-some people. And they, I had them do the most powerful pineal gland exercise I've ever known. And it looks, I won't show it now. It looks ridiculous. But it's kick butt. I'm almost about to cuss, excuse me.
Okay.
It's kick butt big time. All right.
You say ass. I don't mind.
Okay, well, I don't know. You get your band or something, you know.
It's in the Bible, isn't it? I don't know. It's fine.
Okay, so after doing this technique, everybody, you know, you have several people in there that are clairvoyants, mediums. That's what's cool about those conferences. A lot of gifted people. And there's at least 10 people or more going, what is this? I'm seeing this grid. It looks like a tic-tac-toe board. I'm seeing a grid. Several people said that. And immediately I knew it's this field of energy being projected by this Orbs station that is scanning people's life memories. Like let's say like when I did my regression to see why I was tripped out on these ships coming too close, I'm seeing it, and I was trying to home in on it when it's there. I'm trying to tune in and I can't get through. So I go to what my superconscious and subconscious recorded during the event. It'll tell you. You get hypnotized. And I'm looking at a cat being there, which did come up in your, some that come up in your data. They say they're cat beings that protect the portal inside Mount Adams, as is what is said. All right, these ancient cat beings.
Okay.
I've never seen one. Okay, but here I am in this regression, looking at this cat being on board this craft that looks like it's partially shale. Very interesting, but I mean, it's got a guru tourniquet on it. I never seen anything like that, and I had to really evaluate. Okay, did this thing scan me? And say, Barry's never actually seen a physical cat being per se. You know what I mean? So here you go. Produced an orb, got in my field and sent me forward. You know, and I wonder how many of these devices exist on Earth still. There's one in Mount Adams. This is going from type 2 civilization. Mount Adams is one. I think there's another one in Mount Caligash. Okay. I wondered about, I suspect there's one in Mount Shasta. I was on Jimmy Church's show some years ago, and I mentioned that. He goes, "Oh, Barry, I don't think so, Barry. Nothing's like Cassetti. It's different there." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Shasta's very spiritual, but it's not the same." Okay, I don't know. I've not been to Shasta, so I can't say. But I think that there's a possibility that could be one of those operating in there. And when people like me or people like you, certain blood types, certain soul life memories, immortal soul life memories, we get around those things, we trigger that device even more than it would normally be operating. I think it's always in operation, but even more. So that's why I wanted to task you with that. And why also I want to see what you came up with it. I've talked a whole bunch now, but I think it's really important that people know that, because I know so many people went out there and had those experiences and don't know fully what's happening. You know, I mean, I couldn't hardly take the Sasquatch putting rocks on my doorstep and all this stuff going on. I wasn't prepared for that. I mean, they convinced me to stay out there after the conference was done in 2016. I stayed up there, like I said, 2.5 weeks or more. And I really got blasted after that when no one's out there anymore. Very few people. So, you know, and I won't, last thing I'll say, Jessica, you know, some people said, "Oh, He's a problem with the ranch or something. I don't have any problem with that ranch. I will not talk bad about the ranch. And I will say this, if you get a chance to go out there, go. Now, there may be some questionable individuals around the portal and around the ranch, but that doesn't mean don't experience it, all right? That's sacred property. You go out there, it gives you a few days to start healing yourself. The third day you're out there, trauma will come up. And this gives you a chance to either confront it and dismiss it, or exercise it, or run from it. You know, and a lot of people, that's how I got to speak the first year I was out there. I was the first presenter. I was only supposed to do a panel. I was never supposed to speak individually. And they called me in because this lady ran off the third day she was out there. She took off. The cop dropped the property.
Oh, she ran off. Okay. Well, okay.
It is what it is.
It's intense. So what you're saying is very intense. And if you're not ready, it's gonna kick you in the butt, probably. Okay. Yeah. Out there. And so
it's a wonderful experience. If you are, go for it.
Okay. So we're dealing with some high energy out there. So, and I've never been there, but I just know the feeling. I've just remote viewed all this. It's very intense, very high energy. And so I got to say, when I was remote viewing this, the data that I got and what we were talking, not just my data, but what, after you sent me the videos, after I remote viewed it, and I got to hear what John was talking about, John Vivinko, I had just remote viewed. I was tasked with another target this past week that I have not gone public with. It's actually for a documentary that one of my friends is doing, and it involves the land underneath the area at Camp Hero at Montauk, where we were as a group about 2 weeks ago now. We were out there and we did a healing ceremony in the barracks area where the Project Montauk had happened. And that circle right there where we were all there doing this little healing ceremony for all the souls that had to endure whatever went on there, including some of the people that were with me. I didn't know it. That's where the ley lines cross, right there in that spot. And I was my target was the ground underneath that area where we were, and I picked up on crystals and some sort of power generator underneath that. And that's where they did teleportation, they did time travel, they were doing MK Ultra mind control stuff. I mean, a lot of holographic stuff. I mean, for God's sakes, the kids were flying. They had kids flying, literally, and stuff and things is what they say. And so, anyways, it's just interesting that target that I did and that data that I got from that spot correlates with what we're talking about now. I know you and I discussed this right before the show, and you said you don't think it's the exact same, but it's very similar, Barry. And we'll talk about that.
Let me stress again. We're dealing with this quasi-crystal technology, like the engine I showed you or brain I was exposed to. And I have a question for you.
Okay.
So, my friend, did that target that you're talking about now, that technology, did it all remind you of what you saw with the Bermuda Triangle? Remember?
Similar. Yeah, it did. Absolutely. The crystals deep underground, and they were used by the ancients. Okay. And, but they seemed as though the ones that I just got goosebumps because the ones that I was seeing at Montauk had copper wiring all around them. They were covered in copper. There was copper. There were a lot of heavy metals in the ground, like metals and stuff. And they were being utilized. That was being utilized to generate whatever the heck's going on there.
See, those things I saw on board the ship, it looked like they were wrapped in some type of copper. Now, I know now from what they were telling me, they were trying to tell me about metamaterials. So I assume it's something slightly different, but I think it's got copper in it. And they're using that. And whatever it is, these crystals I've seen, I know they're not Earth crystals, but I think some of them have probably been brought here, and that they have this chemical bioluminescence on the inside, and they feel very alive. And the shape of some of these crystals, like the lattices, are just different. And the only thing I've seen similar to that is what our science is now calling, a little congested, quasi-crystals, and the crystals that they're starting to grow in labs, and the different shapes ones that they're growing. You take that and combine that with more an organic component, this life component, that luminosity that they're obviously harnessing through like the 0 point effect and things like that.
Yeah. Crystals are powerful.
Think about our friend Abby Lynn that we spoke with. When during her presentation, she talked about the crystal wranglers she said she'd been in communication with.
Yeah.
And how she was saying that specific species mines only crystals from different planets and fits them with different craft.
Well,
And that's
yeah,
not that's pretty reasonable, you know.
absolutely. Okay, so and I'm going to bring up one more thing from the Montauk adventure that I was on. Well, and not only do I go around to every investigation with Bigfoot and stuff that I do, I always bring home a pocket full of quartz crystal. Okay, from everywhere I go. Like I have a big collection of quartz. Okay, from everywhere. Yeah, like
You just
maybe
find quartz everywhere,
I just
huh?
find
That's
I
interesting.
just well, it's the places I find beautiful. I'm just attracted to beautiful quartz. Yeah, but in Montauk, we went to a place called Council Rock, and it's this gigantic, huge chunk of quartz on top of like a mountain that overlooks the ocean. And it's just and it's at a graveyard, a Native American kind of burial graveyard and memorials. And right beside the Montauk Manor, which does have ties to like the Illuminati and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's really wow. This, like I said, y'all, it's where the Project Montauk happened up there. But lots of tunnels and things underground there. But this Council Rock, this is like ancient, and it goes back to the 13 Native American tribes would go meet at this gigantic piece of quartz. And that's where they meet. And it was very powerful. And when I got there, I could think I kept hearing like as above, so below. Like there's more quartz down in the ground. And I don't think that quartz, they say that it's like glacial quartz or something. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. Let's get into these targets. Let's get into the target tonight, because we're just making this like connection to quartz and crystals and how it's so powerful. And speaking of powerful, I want to thank Aussie Sue for that super chat. Thank you, Aussie Sue. That's very sweet of you. We appreciate that. Jessica and Barry are an amazing team.
Greetings, Aussie Sue.
Thank you. That means a lot to us.
Okay.
Thank you. So Barry, so these targets, it's really funny because the first one I did, I like nailed the picture basically. Okay, the sketch that I did. Now I will go ahead and I'll show the audience like what the sketch looks like as I'm talking about the data. Okay, so this is my sketch.
Right? And anybody who's been to that mountain, they know you can see that light at night glowing right there. You can see it at night. They say, "Oh, it's camp people. It's this, it's that." You can see it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. Got too excited.
But where do you see the light from? You said you can see the light on the middle of the mountain?
Yes. And people start arguing about it, say, "Oh, it's camp people." No, it isn't. And they have people go up there and shine lights, some up there, bright lights, you couldn't see them. And it's just this, there's a light that comes on in the middle of that mountain. You can see from the Ascetti Ranch. There's somebody in the chat room that knows what I'm talking about. Oh, I can feel it.
Oh man.
And you know, more than that, the line you have coming out, I'm sure that's that energy field that starts scanning people's soul memories. I think that's what that is, that field of energy.
The line in the middle, like in the radius, or
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the heck that was. I thought it was a sailboat.
Because it's a broad enough topic, and you're just giving numbers, but you nailed that. I was like, whoa, okay, that was really good, impressive.
Okay, yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. So is that and hey, we'll show the audience while I got y'all here. Let's look at this. This is the drawing that's in the Book of Enoch, or I think that's what that book's called, right?
Yeah, the
Keys of Enoch. And this reminds me a lot, Barry, of the Dark Pyramid of Alaska, and what Tanya and I were both seeing inside and around the Dark Pyramid of Alaska, the Black Pyramid of Alaska. Actually, it's like crystals going up and down, like pyramids, basically pointing up and down and harnessing power and then shooting the power down or up. Okay, so that's interesting.
And remember, it's a conscious device, and it's dealing with the conscious part of us also. So a lot of that are thought forms as well as just, fascinating.
Okay, cool. Very cool. All right. So I'm just going to go like this data. I mean, I'm not always 100% on target, y'all. Okay. I'm not ever. And a lot of this stuff, maybe it does have something to do with these targets, but I don't know. I mean, we don't know. I don't know. So I was actually, at first I was picking up on something circular and ticking, something that was ticking and it was circular, something that was closed, but there were like waves coming off of it. Okay. So that was, and it was moving. It's constantly going. It's constantly moving. Okay. That's what I picked up on. That was my sensory data. Okay, so the way I was computing that's my analytic overlay. That's a lot of times you don't even take this into consideration, the analytic overlay. It's just me trying to make sense. So I'm picking up on like Mars or something off planet. Planetary is what I wrote down. Something with a radius and a circumference. Okay. And so that's where the sketch came into play, I'm assuming. So I got radius, circumference, a countdown, a closure, something that was enclosed. And I was picking up on wide open spaces, something that was intense and there was intention behind it, and something that ran smoothly. Okay, something that was running smoothly. And then I drew that picture of the circle. It looks like it's to me it looked like a sailboat, but apparently it's a mountain with a big gigantic generator in the middle of it of some sort. Now I was also picking up on something that I was seeing humans and humanoids in this target, like it was a tangible bit of data, like that was part of my tangibles. I was picking up on bodies of like humans and humanoids. I also was picking up on something that was elusive and something that was dimensional and interdimensional. Okay, something that had an interdimensional quality about it. All right. Now, the way I was trying to make sense of this data, I picked up on there were six of whatever I was looking at. There's 6 of them. There's creatures involved. Some kind of creatures are out there. They're in and out. And that's where I got the interdimensional aspect. Something's in and out. There was a fight. There's something fighting something off. There was a fight, and then there was something that was fighting something off. I picked up on abductions, on an abduction, memory loss. And then I got really sad and I wanted to cry. And so, and I heard the end, I was told to shut the target down at that point. I got the message, but I mean, that's actually like that data is not super off target though, is it, Barry?
No.
Okay.
And they're, as explained by John, which had an interesting part of this, I think he said they picked this up on both crop circles and when dealing with this, that in that portal, you've got literally thousands of entities trying to squeeze through that portal all at once and through that fissure. And it's like you and me both trying to put our head in a ketchup bottle. Not very good, but those that actually do emerge come out for whatever scientific reason on this side in the collective consciousness form, orb form. So that's something else to kind of take into mind there. And also it is said several times that, you've got these cat beings and different types of beings, especially the cat beings that are stopping negatives from coming through that portal, that they're guarding it. So, that's something else.
Creatures. And something, something is interdimensional there. And I guess the target was the device itself. So there's some kind of interdimensionality about it. Okay.
John said something interesting. He talked about some of the quote unquote light beings in there that are around that device and from the portal, that they were just huge in stature in ways of like the size of buildings. And they have to kind of be condensed to be here and live in there. And to be in there, they have to condense their energy, but there's so much that there's like after surge that happens. And why sometimes above that mountain, people will see that large golden thing up there. I've seen it myself. You think maybe it's a satellite. What is it? It's just like light up there. It's above the mountain, and then it's gone. It looks like almost a flare or something. And he was saying that's the energy that they're producing, the burn off of it, because they have to be confined within that space in there doing the work that they're doing. So I think that's, very, very interesting. And when you talk about the Native Americans of that area said that when, years, centuries ago, they would take wounded warriors up to certain parts of the mountain and they come back healed. So,
Oh, yeah. Healing stuff. Okay. Yeah. Crystals are very healing, right? Healing crystals. That's why we wear crystals. I have on crystals today. I wear crystals every day of some sort. Because it helps with our frequency, our vibrational frequencies. That's why people wear crystals. I mean, people wear crystals because they're beautiful too. So, but they do have a healing quality to them.
Actually, Atlantean crystals are from right here on Earth. They've been planted here and they're coming up now from what we call the planters or the seeders. The crystals I'm talking about are not from Earth at all. And I've never seen any that generate chemical or biochemical luminescence like these. They're not earthly at all. And I'm not so sure they can stay here on Earth, to be quite honest with you. You know, with the exception of maybe the Bermuda Triangle, the ones that are lodged under there, but those are technically, I get this from past memory, those are solar magnetically charged crystals. They're underneath the Bermuda Triangle.
Wow.
So when you say Atlantean crystals, you're referring to magnetically, solarly charged crystals. Interesting. You know, food for thought.
Yeah, cool. Very cool. Yeah, well, someone had asked about Lumerian crystals and or there I used to sell Lumerian crystals, okay, in my shop, and I need to get some more of those if I can find them. I don't know, they were getting a little hard to find the last time I tried to get a shipment in. But yeah, they're beautiful, and they contain information. They hold information. The history of Lumeria. Okay, they say that people who are star seeds from Lumeria, you know, once they wear those crystals, it unlocks information. That's what I've heard. It unlocks
everyone
like downloads
that lived in those times. These seeds, these crystal seeds planted by the seeders or planters, whatever you call them, they're supposed to be coming up at this time in whatever way, coming into contact with the people that possessed them before and worked with them before.
Oh, wow.
So it's a life connection there going on. I've heard that. I've heard that since the 80s. And I pretty much think it's true.
Yeah, I think so too. Amy, thank you so much for that super chat. We love you too. You're the best.
What's up,
oh
Amy?
My gosh, that's so sweet.
Hope you're feeling better.
Yes, absolutely. Hope everybody's feeling good. I'm sending everybody love and light tonight. Everybody. I hope y'all got that big old burst. Okay. Okay. So let's go to the second. Okay. So I got deeper into it, right, Barry? Because you were like, you're on point with that drawing, but maybe you and I mean, I think it's more fun for us to discuss these on air, because just you seeing what I wrote is not so as effective as me telling you what I saw and explaining it. And so I think now we're seeing that I was more on target for that first one. Okay. So, the second time I went in, I'm going to show the audience the drawing that I made. Okay. And this is the drawing. And then I'm going to show you a picture of, this is part of the drawing. I know it looks like chicken scratch. Okay. So it looks like chicken scratch a little bit, if it's up there.
Looks like orbs, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it looks like orbs, and they're either going out or they're coming down. To me, they were going up, because I have some other ones that are going up in another direction, but it's something being thrusted into the air, right? Is what it looks like. And then this is interesting, because on that device out of the Enoch book, we have these things, and they're coming off the side, like they're being thrusted into the air. Very similar to what I drew. I don't know. I don't think I'm reaching on this one. I think this is I was picking up on that. Whatever's coming off of this device. Okay. So anyways, I just wanted to point that out. So if my data sucks, at least I got the drawings. Okay.
Well, I mean, those look like orbs. And what I say, it's producing
like
orbs. It's orb technology. That's what that is. Something we don't know a lot about yet. We've got to the point that some of these orbs using the quantum hologram are craft. Some of them could be craft that are maybe even like starships. They're the size of orbs here in this dimension, in this universe, on this planet. They appeared like that. Within them is a whole other universe. There's a lot going on with the orbs, and that right there. And like I said, that there is, it takes, when looking at this, and like when I talked with Dr. Shields about stuff like this, and that man was calling me once a week. We talked for like weeks, for several hours, like once a week. And we started talking about these orbs and things like that. And they were actually having formulas that were attaching the quantum hologram to our individual molecule.
Wow.
So if you take that to that, you can do the same thing with these orbs. You could actually put an orb in our biofield that's only the size of an atom, and it would completely warp our perception. You know what I mean? In the way that I'm talking there, to give you something that keeps you going forward, a spiritual evolution. It's quite fascinating.
Wow.
Because, we need a lot of that here. A lot of encouragement, a lot of positivity, a lot of love, the whole thing.
Absolutely. Yes, we do. Okay. Let's get into this data. Okay. So I immediately was picking up on angles, something with angles. Okay. A geometric shape with angles in it. I was picking up something that I looked like it was wooden to me, like wooden, and it was moving hectically, and it was tubular. Okay. I picked up on tubular and ionic, like it had like ions. Like, I don't know if, I guess that's like, you know, we have positive ions and stuff. That's why a lot of people put those Himalayan salt lamps in their houses, right? Because it lets off, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I think it lets off like positive ions or something. Okay. But anyways, that's what I was picking up on with my
I'll tell you
sensory
this
data.
much real quick. There's something called ion cyclotron resonance that can be used to actually project dream constructions to people, dreamscapes, and actually control certain perceptions.
Okay.
Ion cyclotron resonance.
Whoa.
So I don't think that's so far out that you say that.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm going to pull up the picture of this device again so everybody can see it as I'm going down my data. Okay, down the list of some of the AOL. This is just some of it, but I got a lot. Okay, so I was picking up on angles, like I said, in a straight edge, something that was straight edged, a prototype. I kept hearing, "I've got the power," like that song. I got the power. I heard that, so I knew it was something that was generating power potentially because something had power. I picked
love
up on
that
something.
song. I love that group.
Right? It's like
Snap.
CNC Music Factory or something, right? I don't know.
Snap.
Okay.
SNAP. Snap.
All right. So I picked up on something that was okay. So I picked up on geometrical shapes. I was picking up more like a hexagon type of a shape, but something that was universal. I picked up on, okay, these are some of the words I wrote down: soul level, project or projection, ionic, bionic, council agreements, set in stone. It's set in stone, Barry. What is a mountain? A mountain's stone, right? So whatever this is, it was set in stone, and I picked up on a capstone. Isn't that like the top of a mountain? Isn't it or top of a pyramid? Ooh, top of a pyramid, right? Capstone. I don't know. I may be wrong. I'm sure our audience knows. Okay. And I also picked up on on cornerstone. So I was picking up on capstone and cornerstones. And also I was picking up on photons, neutrons, elements, the elemental chart. I was picking up again on something that was zooming. Something was going really fast, zooming by. Okay. And something that was just moving quickly. I got that in both of those targets. Okay. Both times I went into that target, something was moving quickly, like almost like spinning around or something. And I was picking up on like a crash and an explosion and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know if that was on target or not. But I heard Rise of Humanity and Answer the Call. That was the last two things that I heard when I was in that target. So yeah. I don't know, Barry. Interesting.
I mean,
Stuff
it sounds very accurate to me. I mean, there's nothing far off from what is being kind of stated so far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially when dealing with the type of technology we understand. Because when I saw this thing in my regression, this thing is turning, and it's turning all sorts of different colors. Okay. Yeah. So it's definitely a system, an activated system. Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of neat actually when taking it and correlating it, you know, because although like even onboard craft, like I've seen these small blue guys, the Andromedans, having these wands that have the crystals. They're like a crystalline wand with these fiber optics coming out of them, these weird symbols on them, you know, and they're glowing inside a little bit too. So I've seen different types of them because they have different configurations, the way they're shaped. But quasi crystals don't look all that natural. So.
Whoa. I was just crystal shopping today, actually, and I found some crystals that were like plastic. I was like, those aren't real crystals. Sorry. So yeah, I'm a crystal snob these days. I know good crystals when I see them. But okay. So this is actually a good question. I mean, before we go further, because that was the end of target number 2, but it was the same target as 1. Second time I went in. Genocide says, Barry, what about the door they found on top of Mount Adams in 2017?
BARY. But hey, that's a good question. Actually, I was out there when that happened. Jimmy Church was tripping out, man.
Oh, was he? He was there?
Yeah. You know, James had said though that door's been Yeah. James kept saying the door's been there for a while, but for whatever reason, it looked like there was like snow coming into it, kind of like falling into it or something. But at night, you can also sometimes see that door glow a little bit. That area of the mountain over there glow a little bit. Okay. And supposedly that's access. You know, what I got during my regression was that there's also like in the side of that mountain there's also like kind of like what we call it, like a hangar, a bay
A hangar,
of different craft that come in and out of there.
Is it
That's why you see
holographic?
some craft going down and going inside of the mountain itself.
Okay.
All right. During my regression, I was talking about this ship, and I've got a couple of videos. If you go to my YouTube channel, go to playlists and go to SETI Ranch. I've got all those videos on there under the playlist. But this craft, it looked like, honestly, it looked like kind of like one of the Hindu temples. It was on the side of the mountain, but you couldn't see it with normal vision. You know what I mean? It detaches and comes to and from. Very interesting, the stuff that we can't perceive. But at night, you know, you can see stuff going in and out of the mountains. Fascinating. When I met the guy I'm a fan of, Tom Powell. I go out there. You know, these Sasquatch are yelling out there, sounding like cows. It pretty much chased us back up on property, and somebody's standing out in the field out there. They'll go here. This is see who it is. It's Tom Powell. And I was like, man, you hearing these cow sounds? He pulls off he's listening like Duran Duran or something. And real loud, but he go, no, man, he's like, man, I've been out here watching this mountain. He's like, Barry, the damn UFOs going in and out of this mountain constantly. It was about probably 2 a.m. too. I said, yeah, that's the way it is out here most times at night, especially late at night. 3 a.m. it gets real active out there. So,
yeah, I bet that's the witching hour, man. All sorts of stuff happens out in the field. Yeah, 3 a.m. That's when the Bigfoots come in too. Usually it's more like 4 or so. They'll come around the base camp and stuff. Long Island Bigfoot. Speaking of Bigfoot, what's up, Long Island Bigfoot, Mike? Thank you for that super sticker. I was just watching your live. That was awesome with the astrology charts. So everybody go subscribe to Long Island Bigfoot if you hadn't already. Okay. Okay. What else? Okay, I just got sidetracked a little bit here because I was going to say something. I forgot what it was. So let's just go on to the third and final target. Okay. Because the last one, I went in for a third time just to get deeper into it. Okay. Just to get a little bit deeper. And, I was picking up on this the third time I went in, I started picking up on like ancient aliens and the Anunnaki. Okay. So I picked up on technology, some kind of ancient technology and off-planet connections, okay, to whatever this thing is. I was picking up sparks of fire and heat. There was an indication. I don't know what the indication was of. I have no idea. But I was picking up on like a sparkling white hot heat. Something that was elongated, very deep, and I was picking up on something that was flying and floating as well. Okay, so that was all in my sensory data. But I picked up on 100%. I picked up on something underground. The head of it, I don't know what that is. I kept hearing the head of it, but is underground, and there are ancient aliens involved. Winged gods. Did you say winged gods earlier? Because that was in my
you mentioned it too, yeah. And that goes, that goes into for out there. That goes into and it's not the blue avian thing, all right. But they've talked about like what would be like bird tribes out there and bird tribes that have used that portal and around there. So, and that would be a book that goes way before we talk about any of that stuff that's modern now. Check out Ken Carey's old book, The Bird Tribes. He talks about a lot of that and breaks it down. Really, really cool. So I think you're dealing with more of that. And also there have been things seen around there that are quote unquote Thunderbirds. And one that James that owns that place had told me that this thing that's been seen eating roadkill several times. And he described something that almost sounds cyborg-like in a way, like almost a sentinel. And if it was technically advanced cyborg technology, they still have to support their living parts. Why people might see eating roadkill. So that's the little things like that are reported around there that probably aren't the myth that you might think. It had me looking at all the beautiful eagles and things that were flying around that mountain quite a bit. Makes you look at all of them and try to evaluate the size of them.
Yes, they're huge, right?
Yeah. Even bigger than eagles. Like red-tailed hawks. Even they're bigger than them, which is impressive.
Absolutely. Okay, Donna has a good question. Are the crystal skulls, are they part of these kind of crystals? I mean, because they're so powerful. We have the crystal skulls, and I also have another comment here.
That's a fun
I'm going to pull
question.
this one up. Yeah, I mean, well, because we have a picture of you holding a crystal skull. And restore belief with Nikki. Angels are live. Hi, Nikki. She's talking about crystal sphere, gigantic sphere crystals that are living crystals. Okay, so we have like these huge sphere crystals all over the earth. We also have crystal skulls. They're holding information, right, Barry? Like, what is the significance to all of these?
The crystal skulls, I had some doubt about them until I started getting several laid up on me, given to me. Ones like this one. Looks like he has a toupee there.
Let me see. Can you hold that back up so I can see it?
Yeah, it's actually from Australia.
He has hair. Look at that.
My
He's got a
friend,
buzz
my
cut.
girl's super. Yeah, it's what is
I
it?
love
Quartz,
that.
phantom quartz. Yeah,
That's
very
beautiful.
much. It's an interesting piece too. It's very, very strong.
toupee.
And the skull that you saw me touching in that picture, the name of that skull is Osh. It's jade.
Okay.
Jade crystal is what jade is. Some type of jade. I'm sorry. And that one there, and that gentleman, he just passed. But Dennis, see, they had several different skulls, several that were for sale, but others that weren't, like Osh. Another one called Gaia, and these ones that were supposedly ancient. And when I got near that Osh skull and I touched it, this guy's giving me his whole hustle and his everything and telling me stuff, but suddenly he's just talking. And the skull is in my mind showing me telethought, communicating with me, saying basically, because he kept saying it was found in the tomb of a Mongolian warlord. And then this crystal skull starts telling me he's wrong. I'm African. Look at my nostrils, and I was found in Africa. And it starts telling me things and showing me things, Earth before the continents split, and all these things. And I just look at this guy, I can't even hear him talk anymore. That is the first time I'd ever been communicated with in that way with one of these crystal skulls. All right, I've been around tons of good-looking replicas. You touch them, you might get a little stimulation, a little relaxation, things like that, but not telethought communication like that. And that thing kept communicating with me when I was away from it. All right, Osh, O-S-H.
Okay.
I believe they call him Ashram or something. I don't know.
Oh
but
my gosh.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
But in communication with that, so a skull like that, or another ones I come in contact with to answer a question, was telling me I need to think about a citrine skull I touched. Was like I need to think about what the skull was like before it was shaped in space, before it came to Earth as a pure piece of citrine. What does that mean? So, we've got so many of these minerals and crystals and gems, and I think plants too, and insects that are brought in from other places. So I would say that conforms definitely. I would agree ultimately.
Speaking
and crystal
of which,
skulls. So I think it's a matter of just you can find what does the book says. There's like Donna will probably know even better than me. If there's like 12 original ones, 12 ancient ones, and when they all come together, or is it 24? Maybe it's 24. When they all come together, it's going to create this resonance that help us advance us to the next vibration. That's what it said.
We need it. We need it right now. This is the time.
And I wasn't a big believer in those, but some things that get pushed up onto you. I don't write the rules; I just observe them. So
I know. Well, Barry, you have actually shown pictures many times of your experience on a spacecraft with the crystal generator with the copper wires wrapped around them. So yes, Donna, they are used to power spaceships, right, Barry?
Yeah, and I've seen another one too, Donna, on my YouTube channel. It's called the gyrospherical engine, and that one actually looked like a ball. And a ball now I can take with these hexagons in it that looks much more than what we call C60 now. People start going, oh, shouldn't I? C60 though. It looks a lot like that. It had these hexagons in it, and it made me really look into what the honeybee puzzle of why they use hexagons. Yeah, why they use honeycombs for their energy shape. So it kind of took into that, and this thing was rotating with these rings around it. It was projecting a large golden light going up into this craft. So that's another type. But I've seen a crystal too, and I've always called that large crystalline engine the quasi-crystal engine. I've always called that an engine, but in reality, knowing more what I know about the organic sentient nature of the craft now, I think it might also be the brain, or is the brain. Food for thought, you know. And I don't know what it was about the ones that we're talking about now that were wrapped in these copper. At first, I could see them glowing inside. Then they started spinning. And when they started spinning, each one of them was spinning so fast, I couldn't distinguish them anymore. And the whole system starts producing this hum, this boom, boom, boom. I said before, only sound I've heard like it is on, it's on my YouTube channel too, the In Search of with Little Nimoy, when they do the thing over the doggone. They show the elder on the rock, and once a year they go up there and he starts swinging this thing they call a bull roar. I think it's a beetle that has a chain in it or something, and it woo, 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 woo. It sounded just like that, but even deeper, like it was vibrating, maybe even, you know, my inner bones. Not bad, but it was just deep. And that's when the insectoid over there, Xandar, is putting in my mind that sound you're hearing doesn't just heal, you know, like energy body, astral, and power ships and power planetoids, as he said, small planetoids. It also can heal human flesh. I mean, you know, at the point, I didn't know what the heck that meant. But now I know it's got something to do with the sound and various things. There's people talk about that much more than me, but it was very real seeing that thing in operation. When it starts operating, I feel sick, though, like I'm going to puke. You know what I mean? It's the whole feeling you get when on board one of these craft that is not fully third dimensional. But we are. This body is.
Wow.
That's why they take a lot of people energy field and dream body, energy body, dream and experiences. That's why I saw someone like Susan Manwich when I was 16. I saw her on a craft touching this light along with Bill Spicer. I did my first interview with that got me to ever come forward about this.
Wow.
And, you know, they're touching this light, but they're see-through. Like some of those beings on that craft, not all of them are physical. Some of them are kind of like transparent. That's because these people were having dream body experiences, astral experiences. And guess what? They weren't there holding their stomach like I was about to throw up from temporal aphasia, like being on a merry-go-round too long and then they're getting telepathically blasted. You're seeing stuff that is technology that makes you just go. And I'm one of those kids when you go through a field trip, I'll be, whoa, what is that? I was one of those kids, so I get blown away. You know what I mean? And there's no frame of perception.
You're tripping out. Tripping out.
Yeah. Oh, you sound like my brother all the time. My brother, you be freaking out,
trip
man.
Out. Wait, that's Brown Dwarf. Brown Dwarf says trip out. Brown's in the chat. Trip out. Yeah. Well, hey, when I was in 6th grade, we took a field trip to the Huntsville Space Center. Okay, in Huntsville, Alabama, and I rode the centrifuge. I think that's what it was called, where it spins around really fast. And then it, like, the seats go up. You don't wear a seatbelt or anything. You just like get on it and you just spin. Like the G forces are like going. I mean, it's crazy. And like you go and the seat like goes up and then it pushes you back. I'll never forget that. That was my introduction into space travel right there. Okay, but yeah, good times. Good times.
Pretty cool. Yeah, we used to have a thing called the Cosmosphere, and it's a really big one. And you see a lot of that stuff that NASA used, and it's always fun to have a planetarium there. When you step in there, you feel kind of dizzy. Reminds me of being on one of those ships. It's like it's off access or something when you go in there. Pretty cool.
Yes. Okay. And so, Donna, I'm not sure if you're referring to crystals with this comment, but okay. So the reason that I bring up pretty often that I do pick up a lot of quartz, this is one of the reasons I bring this up, is because there's veins of quartz in almost every area of high strangeness that my team researches. And I'm talking about lots of quartz, quartz crystal in the ground. And as a matter of fact, that's where the portal opened. We have a lot of quartz, and that's my son and I brought like a big box of it home one day when I took him out there because it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I have not had a hologram of an alien show up in my house lately, or a Bigfoot or anything, so I think I'm safe from that quartz. But you never know. But it does. It holds. Somebody in the chat a while ago said that it holds imprints. I think it's Overbuilt Automotive. What's up? Thank you for being here. Overbuilt. So it holds that imprint of things that happen in that land. And it's like the stone tape theory is what they call that. Okay. When you're talking about like spirits and things that are playing over and over again, I wonder if that's like in the quartz berry. Also, Civil War battlefields and like places where wars have been fought. And there's been a lot of tragedy. We talk about this all the time. it's got to have something to, I mean, I'm not saying it's got to, but I think it has something to do with the quartz in the area. Potentially, that's why we have all this residual energy. Do you think?
People laugh at Shirley MacLaine a lot, and she's pretty cool, actually. She was on Oprah's show before Oprah went to go do her own network, and she said that she has one of her ranches I think it's in New Mexico by the Caldera mine that blew up where those crystals blew out. And she said there's something about that area. She's got a medicine wheel out there she walks. She said there's something about those crystals out there that those ships are they're magnified. They're doing something. They use them or something, and that's why there's so much activity over there. That would be similar to one of these veins you're talking about that blew out. And in describing wonderful Donna, I like Donna, her question or her statement, actually. Two things, not just that, but also on board the craft that I was on board, this organic UFO, the one that morphed. Okay, there's something a rod on top of it with these like lights on it that are turning, and each time the light would turn towards me, it feels like I'm going woo, woo, because I know now it's using brain waves. All right, but that thing is actually called a directional emitter, and what it also can emit a type of a plasma beam that opens up one of these portals, and then they start going into maybe riding gravitational waves into it or whatever it might be. But I know that they have that beam on top can also open portals through some type of high energy plasma. Food for thought. And crystals do it too. But I think when we start getting to that type of type 3, type 4 civilization technology, it's like all bets are off the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Isaac 9. I believe quartz is one of the best crystals to open portals as far as the cryptid side of everything. And whatever's going on out in the woods where I go, it's quartz crystal. So I'm not sure about other portals opening, but I know where we go, there's a lot of quartz crystal out there. And also we have a lot of orbs, Barry, a lot of orbs. That's the one constant that I talk about all the time. Every time we go out in the woods, we have orbs. And one of the last times I was out there was an orange orb, a flash of light in the tree line. And then right as I saw that, it was like an orange orb, I heard hoof, like a growling huff. And I immediately looked to see if make sure it wasn't a bear. Okay. Because we do have bears up in those mountains. But that was not a bear. I knew instinctively that was not a bear.
Aren't the orange orbs always associated with Sasquatch, aren't they?
Usually, a lot of times. But that was the first time I'd ever seen an orange orb before. Usually the ones that I see, I actually have pictures. Let's see if I can pull these pictures up for the audience. These are not my pictures. I found these online because they look very similar to what we see out in the field. This is an almost exact replica of the orb that floated into my tent one night. And it just floated around and it checked me out for a little while. It looked just like that. It was white. It was about the size of, it's somewhere between a basketball and it was bigger than a softball, but smaller than a basketball. Okay. And so these are the types of orbs that we see. We see all sorts of different types, but different colors. Okay. And they do look like that too. Sometimes they have faces in them. And
I'm seeing a comment over here about amorphous metals. And I just want to be straight. That's not what this ship was, okay? Amorphous metals, I've done something about that. And what we're dealing with here was a ship that's going into a universe that is based off Crystalline, I believe. We've got the spin. This universe here is based off the spin, okay? And when you start going to another universe, you're going to be dealing with a different shape. It could be pyramids. It could be amorphous metals. Okay, but this one where this ship was going was someone that was a crystalline type of place. That's why this turned from not just amorphous metals into a crystalline Merkaba, pure crystalline light crystal. Okay, that's going beyond amorphous metals. We're dealing with something that changed its pattern of configuration to match its destinations. I had to accept this because I'm dealing with beings that are going and dealing with universes. Not just going to the other galaxy, they're going to different universes. I couldn't accept that at first. I kept trying to argue like Dr. Shields about it. No, it's galaxies. He said, no, that's not holding up, Barry, mathematically, what you're saying. It's universes they're dealing with. They didn't blast you with that immediately, but that's what it is. So I want to make sure that that's known. I'm not just talking about amorphous metals. Heck, we've known about that since Terminator 2, okay? Terminator 2, the cop was amorphous metals moving around.
Oh,
It's a little more. It's a little more than that. That's more dealing with these beings that are more Roswell type and these grays and things like that are using amorphous metals like that. This is more the crystalline we're talking about here, a different level, quasi-crystal technology. And the metals that I've dealt with that he's talking about is the part of the component that is used in these ships that are the metals that are mined from planets that are devoid of Van Allen belts. Okay, those are combined with the type of the quasi-crystal and the type of DNA from the crew. Okay, and that is grown actually over one of these micro wormholes. So that's only one part of the metals, of the composite that's used for these ships. I'm talking about the ones I've dealt with. I don't deal with grays. I don't deal with the lower vibration ones. I've dealt with these universal cats that's something else. So I can only speak for myself, okay, what I've experienced.
Interesting. That's awesome. Okay. And I got it, Amy. Okay. So of all the places I've gone and investigated, Bigfoots, whatever, the only place I did not take quartz from was Montauk at Camp Hero. Okay. And I did not feel like I didn't feel comfortable taking quartz from there because so much trauma had happened there. I did not want that quartz to go home with me. I just felt like it was best to keep that there. So I didn't take it, but I did bring home some ocean rocks. I have beautiful rocks on the beach. And the day that we were watching for the USS Eldridge to reappear in that 20-year biorhythm portal, I did bring home some beautiful rocks. And Long Island Bigfoot was in the chat. I don't know if he's still here. But he and I, we were both finding some really cool rocks. He actually went home with like an egg-shaped rock. It looked just like an egg, like a dragon egg or something. But anyways,
fossilized dinosaur egg, maybe, who knows?
It was a dragon egg, I bet. I don't know. He's probably gonna have a baby dragon in his house one day. We'll see. We'll have to have him keep us posted on that. But yeah, no quartz from there. No quartz at all. So the medicine wheel at Seti, that was powerful. That was a powerful experience for me. Genocide.
Yeah, that's a cool statement. It is very interesting. I'm curious, Genocide, which section did you resonate with the most? Andromedan, the Arcturian, or which little part of that circle did you really kind of vibe with? You know what I mean? Because sometimes the cool rocks they have at each one, but I think it's cool crystals at each little section. But I liked a couple of them. I liked the Andromedan one. I liked, I think it was a Sirius. I think. Can't remember now, but I know I definitely liked the Andromedan one. It's an interesting medicine wheel. It's really cool to walk at night too when nobody's around. You know?
Yeah, I gotta make a trip up there sometime. Okay.
Well, I'm sure you'll get invited. You're doing good work. You'll get invited. Go check it out. You'll love it. You'll love it.
Okay, Marinade. Quartz can be programmed. It's very helpful mineral. It's protective in your aura. It will help your plants grow. It will clear the energy in your home. Absolutely. That's why I have so many crystals in my house. And I have lots of friends that put crystals down inside their plants to help it grow. And I find that my plants grow better when they're near my crystals. Absolutely.
They produce a piezoelectric effect too. Pretty easy.
Yeah. Totally. Now, Amy has a question for you, Barry. Do you experience pain in your brain from being abducted? Hope this isn't too invasive to ask.
No, I don't get that. I survived 4 catastrophic traumatic brain injuries, though, which not many people could say, and that wasn't very comfortable. But that didn't have anything to do with my abduction. No, I didn't have any type of a brain pain or anything like that. Trying to think. What I did experience, though, when being in the biofield of some of these beings, is a type of elation that felt a lot like Shaktipat, I think. When the guru touches the Swami touches the guru touches the apprentice, and they have a Kundalini release, and all the chakras are turning, you feel enlightened a little and like blissed out.
Yeah.
And I felt like that in the presence of some of these interdimensionals, extraterrestrials, non-physicals. I felt like that. You know, it makes me think easily how primitive man could conceive that type of a feeling as coming from a God type being, which they are not. You know what I mean? Higher vibration, but they're not gods. So food for thought. So I never really experienced a lot of pain though with any of mine, but I wasn't abducted. I'm an experiencer, you know, so.
Yeah. There's Overbuilt. He says, I would not have taken it either. Smart move. Talk about that crystal, the quartz out there. And yeah, the egg, there's a lot of egg-shaped rocks out there. I'm a rock kind of person. I love rocks and crystals. So yes, and any stone that can't go home with you will tell you. Absolutely. I didn't feel comfortable taking any rocks from there. Now I did come home with a piece of that radar from the radar tower, which was probably really kind of a bad idea, but I don't know. It's probably radiated. I got radiation. I don't know. It's in my bedroom. So if I show up kind of glowing green one day, it's probably because I got that in my, I've got it. Maybe I'll raffle it off to one of my viewers so one of y'all can have it.
A great book for crystals is not just the pocket book of crystals, pocket book of stones, but also Kaleidoscope of Crystals by Melody. I think she's passed away. I don't know how much available her work is anymore, but she was really good at breaking down every mineral, every crystal, every stone and rock. Really good book. If you can find a Melody, the Encyclopedia of Crystals, I believe it's called, volume 1 and 2. Get either one of those. It's worth an investment. I promise you, if they're still in print.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is endless the type of powers that crystals have. I mean, it's amazing. We should all be rocking crystal jewelry, y'all. And if you want some, go to World Woman Goods on Etsy.
Right on.
Oh my gosh, I'll get some more stuff in, y'all. I don't have a ton of crystals in there right now other than my turquoise. Turquoise is a crystal too. And a lot of times turquoise has quartz in it, like veins of quartz and stuff. As a matter of fact, for my Patreon members, by the way, I just made necklaces today for everybody. So if you're a VIP member in my Patreon, you're going to get a beautiful crystal. It's a jasper, actually. It looks like turquoise, but it's jasper, imperial jasper little necklace. So you guys are getting those this month. I haven't mailed those out yet. I just made them today. Simple and beautiful, actually. So yeah. But yeah, I'm really into crystals. Absolutely. I'm infusing with positive vibes.
I think that comes in hand with paranormal, with new age, with awakening, and just, it comes hand in hand. Like, for example, I know a lot of people are crazy about moldavite, which is cool because it looks like kryptonite kind of. But some of us don't hold. It doesn't bother me, but I've seen it really irritate some people's skin. Gotta be careful with the moldavite.
Okay, so that was actually a suggested remote viewing target. The origin of moldavite. I don't know if I gave that to you, Barry, or even I don't think I've ever told you that.
Never mentioned
someone after one of the shows actually wrote a comment. I'm not sure who it was. I have to go back and look. But they said that moldavite, the origins of moldavite would be a perfect target. Okay, so maybe we'll look into that one day.
You know what it is?
What's that?
It's a meteorite. It's a meteorite that hit in that area, and when it hit, it created that great heat, and it set up all the stuff, and the moldavite and techites were formed during that heat from that explosion, and that's where moldavite comes from. And it's interesting when actually taking that and changing that to what happened 9,800 years ago, when you had that asteroid that came and hit, like I told you before, on the shelf over there, oh gosh, I can't say the Hercules shelf now, but it hit the shelf and the ice shelf, and it knocked that ice out that came up and went way up in the atmosphere, and then landed places too. And you've got like the Carolina holes then, and these places and these blue holes and things where this ice happily hit and caused that catastrophe that would be the Great Flood. It raised what they said was somewhere around 60 feet the first day. And then within like the following month or two, and another one might have hit, that it raised by 300 feet. That's a quick rise, man. Yeah, that's why going underground was the only thing could be done. You had to go underground or into space to survive it. And that's where you get supposedly the bee people came from, and some of these other
people.
The ant people. The ant people. That's what I meant. Yeah, from the Hopi. And there's people that went under there and stayed so long underground they started developing insectoid traits. And and that's also what quote unquote J-Rod said, but J-Rod's supposed to come from the future. Now I've heard from whistleblowers that the J-Rod thing is not really one of the extraterrestrials that was here. That's a makeup story. That wasn't one of the creatures. I don't know. You hear so much of this that it gets so You know what I mean?
Well,
That's why
I could
I tend to
remote view
start just
it.
going with experiences. Maybe you should remote view
Every time you use a
J-Rod. See
target,
if it's
man.
real.
Hey,
Huh?
you can task me with it. I'll do it anytime. That would be an interesting target, actually.
I'll wait for you when it's time to say, Barry's nothing there. You trying to trick me?
So far, I've only come across of all the remote viewing targets I've ever done, especially for a show. There's only one that was not real. Okay, and I was a little uncomfortable even talking about it. That was when I was doing shows with Texas Front Porch, and I'm just going to tell y'all it involved a dog man story. Okay, and so and it was a made up story. I think it was based on something true, but I couldn't get any data out of it. It was not real, but it was being put off as being real. Okay. So, anyways, yeah. So, Barry, I mean, there's data that comes out of all these targets that you've given me, every one of them. And
Well, yeah,
Marinade, thank you for that
thank
super chat.
you for doing them. I mean, it's really cool. And hopefully the things that, that interest other people too, not just strictly me, but I think it's good to have a gamut because I'm sorry, but a lot of these shows we see, people are talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is important because that ranch out there affects a lot of people. Get to go out there. You go out there and have an experience that pushes you forward. That's why so many people want to go back, or any of these places on Earth where these devices might reside, which could be underground also. I don't know.
Okay.
That might be something to look at to see how many of these are around. There's a few of them, and I wonder why it is when certain. Yeah. And certain of us get around them, they really get active. They send a few orbs after us, or whatever. And the beings maintaining the compound is just as fascinating.
Well, can I tell you? I think that August the 12th, that's when we were at Camp Hero doing the ceremony. That was the day that that the USS Eldridge was to reappear in the ocean for the 20-year bio camp. We were at Council Rock that same day. Like, we did so much. We were all over the place at these extremely highly powerful power places. Okay, there's just places of power and high energy. Well, I had friends all over the world that same day. Paula Asteria was at Stonehenge. Okay, my friend Norma Jean and Tanya, those my two friends, they were at Mount Shasta that same day. We were all at like these really, I mean, and there were more people at other places. Those are the ones I can remember, that we were at these like places of power that day. Like, I have to wonder, like, what was going on? Like, why were we all called to those places on that exact same day to be there? I think it's the people that go and activate the rocks, or they activate us. I don't know. Is that out of the question?
It's possible. That might be more of an astrology question that I'm capable of answering. But yeah, it's you got these power spots all over the planet, and right now, I mean, no matter what we want to say it, dear Lord, this place is in trouble. I can't say that enough. We're in big trouble right now. I mean, as far as existence, this place is very questionable right now. And the question of, can humanity maintain its supposed stewardship of this planet? Because I promise you, there's a whole host of interdimensionals, multidimensionals, extraterrestrials that are ready to come in here and take this place over. I promise you that. And there's certain reasons it hasn't happened, but it's like, God, when we see the things that you've revealed in the targets we've done, how much of this planet is attempted being turned into a slave quarters is what they're trying to turn this into on the soul level, the hijacking of the divine oversoul, and the hijacking of the phenomenon, the entire contact phenomenon itself. I'm going to release a video tomorrow that some people will be cool with it, some won't. It's going to offend some people. And I'm sorry that it does, but it's just a fact of how many of our population is being targeted right now by these direct energy weapons, by acoustic weapons, and things that can actually hack our brain, hack the cerebral cortex. Cerebral cortex. All right. And these are things you can look up. Go to YouTube and type in brain hacking. Look up the thing they talk about on 60 Minutes. That's just a small part of it. And putting people into these hive minds where they get exposed to all these things, like we're talking about technology, we're talking right now, these orbs that use particle synthesis. You be in one of these, you think you're really doing this stuff. You wouldn't know the difference. You think you're really on the moon. You think you're on Mars. You know, you're a super soldier doing all this back over here. You've got hybrids. You're doing all this stuff. And you would swear that's real. And you will say the same thing that half of these people say to me. Well, there's this other me that's doing that. They're doing all this stuff. It's like there's two me.
Okay, so what just popped in my head? What about all the people that do like these mass shootings and stuff? Like they say they hear voices in their head and something told them to do it. I mean, it has to affect people like that too, right?
Same thing. That's that voice they call V2K, or the voice of God technology, which uses these acoustics coming in both ways. They're hitting people with things like that company called LRAD, long range acoustic delivery. Okay, hitting both ways from that. Okay, then that puts you in what's called the audio spotlight, and you're hearing voices. And they're telling how many, the mass shootings, a lot of people saying that now, that, oh, the voices told me to do it. Beyond just general neurochemical problems, something else is going on, you know? And that, you know, and the sad thing is there's no way to protect yourself from that V2K. You can't shield it.
Wow.
And when dealing with technology, these private sectors, government, military, who was ever doing it, you know, people laughed at me several years ago when I talked about the pilot whales that were being beached. Those pilot whales had their tails turned like this, like sharks. Sharks swim like that, back and forth. Whales do not. They go up and down. Their tails are not crooked like that. Something hit those beings and hit those whales and made them beach themselves. Some type of an acoustic weapon. You know, and it's just getting more and more now to where we have to evaluate what population are they going to use this type of technology on. They're going to use the homeless, the prison populations, and now they've targeted what I believe are contactees, mediums, psychics, people that come in here with that energy. They know, they tag you, and they start zapping you. And I guess 4 people that piss people off too. That'll get you in one of these programs.
Yeah.
You know, so it's real serious. And when I say that, that's what they're doing to hijack the entire phenomenon scenario. That's why I told the person earlier, I'm not an abductee. I had contact it was not abduction. Okay, it was not negative like that. That's all we hear about. If you have contact, automatically it's got to be abductive and negative. You got reptilians, you got anal probes, you got grays, you know. But in reality, when you look at work like what Ray has produced from CCRI, that foundation, okay, and I listened to a deal he just did the other day. They upped it. It's over 4,000 people, 4,000 contactees they talked to. And the amount of people that had negative encounters is like less than 10%. You can't fake that data, but you would never believe that. You would think everybody had these horrible experiences because they're, one, zapping people with this technology I told about, that is talked about, and 2, all we hear about is negative stuff. So when you have beings that are from the divine field trying to interact with you through your brain waves, okay, and when we think about these things, oh, negativity, and we are the creative principle does pass us, Jessica. Okay, we are from the creator, quote unquote, the creator's image. In a non-physical way, that means the creative principle passes us. So that when we start using our will, oh, abduction, start tripping out, you can change through your own brave waves what that encounter actually is into something negative. You know, and I'm not saying by any stretch the negative does not happen at all. I'm not saying that. It did not happen to me, which I'm cool with, but it's a big problem. But the positive part of this, the whole part of Ray's chart that has more than half on positive contact, we don't hear about it. It's definitely not emphasized by the media. We don't hear about the healing that Preston Dennett's wrote two books over, that thick. One of them's that thick, over healing cases, people that have been healed. We don't hear about that enough, you know?
Yeah.
And we're going to the type 1 civilization. It has to get out there. This is important.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I was asked to remote view something. I remote viewed a missing time experience that Tex had. And Tex talks about this publicly, so I can talk about it with Texas Front Porch. Shout out to my buddy Tex. He was out at Brown Springs, Oklahoma, and had a missing time incident. Didn't know what happened. I was tasked with that as a remote viewing target. And I saw he had been abducted by ETs. They actually took him and they gave him upgrades, basically, is what they did. They gave him upgrades. They gave him the clear audience. They gave him a bunch of clairs. Okay. And I mean, like, clairsentience, clairaudience, all that stuff, and it actually improved. It improved him. It leveled him up a little bit. Okay, even though it was kind of messed up. The way they did it, they kind of took him like a bolt of lightning. But yeah, interesting stuff. It's not all bad.
That's another thing that fake technology can do is they can give you third eye projections. So you've got a group of people who think they have these superpowers. They're super soldiers. They have these superpowers, though. They things like the school I was in as a child. I went to this mystery school a couple of times where they teach you to do things on this table, psychokinetically. The first thing is like to move the feather on the table. The second is to stir the water with your mind. Okay, the third is to levitate the metal balls. There's some type of levitation balls. Put them in different configurations. All right. And I quit going. I got uninvited because at my school during the day, I couldn't do that stuff. I'm trying to get the pencil just roll across the table. I can't do it. So what's the purpose of doing it over there when it doesn't work here? See, but then I hear things about these people saying, oh, I've been trained to do all this stuff. I've got all these psychic powers over there. See, that's something they can be giving to you. They could be projecting that to you. Got to be very careful. I found that the line of this is so thin that it's crazy. This hijacking of the experience. Somebody just made a comment that they're like all these things, abductee, experience, or contactee. Make your mind up. Are you having negative encounters or positive or both? I mean, for me, it's strictly been positive. I'm not going to have any negative thing coming up on me. I'm going to stop that, both by will, by force.
But not everybody can stop it, though.
I will fight. It probably depends on how strong you are, and it depends on why are some of us protected, some of us not.
Okay, well, just some people aren't aware, or maybe it's just overwhelming. Okay, so maybe perhaps. Maybe that's why the head of my Bigfoot research team thought it was important to teach us about remote viewing and how to remote view, how to control our minds, because he foresaw us he knew we were out in that field and we were being accosted by ETs. Okay, so I was told to read up on alien abductions. And I just went out there to be a Bigfoot researcher, okay? And I started having ET showing up in my bedroom, and there was nothing I could do about it, okay? And I'm not going to say it was a good experience. It was never a good experience at all, but it wasn't a terrible experience either. But I honestly don't remember. I just remembered little tidbits of it.
Well, how do you know if it's good or positive if you can't remember?
Well, but I wasn't like trying to. When I saw them physically, I wasn't like trying to shoot them or anything. Do you know what I mean? Like I wasn't like, I was just like, oh yeah, this is weird. It was almost like I'd done it before. Like it wasn't, in the moment, it was almost like I'd probably been seeing them my whole life. Hey, what's up, guys?
Or you got a situation like, a client that I had, and they come to see me about particular physical pain they want to know the origin of. And during the session, it comes out that, they're younger, camping with some Girl Scouts, and everybody's knocked out. They're asleep too, kind of asleep, and they see this ship come over, and suddenly the light beams, and then they're on board. And this individual is still awake. The other people are like sleepwalking on board there, and they're experimenting on them. One of these pyramids, one of these triangles, I'm sorry, almost sounded like a T3B of a type, but there were non-humans on board it. And, this is somebody that is coming to see me about Reiki pains and stuff like that. It had nothing to do with what the actual origin of it is. So if you have something like that happen, you might not be able to do anything, but it's also a question of why was my client slightly aware when the others weren't and awake when the others weren't, and where the point of resistance starts, and also how many of us have others looking out for us that are on a different level. There's a lot of stuff. It's a war, so it's hard to tell, It's not for me to judge. I just think it kind of sucks. But we need to talk about the positive more and get that out there. Otherwise, people won't know. Like the positive timeline I saw as a kid. I saw it for half of my life, which is these ships coming over these major cities, like probably 20 or more major cities. They just are over there. You're hearing the vibration for like a minute or two, then they're gone. But it shows that we're not alone, and it changes things. But now if that were to happen, it's been averted because you've got this damn, fake alien invasion. I'm so sick of hearing about that. That's
Oh,
crap.
I say it all the time, so that's me.
Everybody
I'm
does. But
guilty.
when is it going to happen? Let's see it first. Let's see it actually. Let's see
It could be
anything
fake.
that is predicted in these new age groups that I've been following now since '85, since I could read real good and understand the stuff. I hear the same stuff, and none of it ever happens. Okay, and it's always this negative stuff, fake alien invasion. But that is enough now to freak enough people out to where if what I just said I've been seeing most of my life happens that was positive, people will lose it.
Hey, did you hear about that thing on the plane? That MFer was not real.
What?
Just kidding. That lady on the airplane that was seeing, there was like some kind of reptilian or something on her plane. I don't know. That was.
I haven't heard about that one.
You haven't heard about that? Barry.
No.
Are you serious?
Reptilian on a plane.
It was something. She kept saying that MFer is not, it was a shapeshifter. Yeah. That's what she said. But then it's like, it just seems like it could be a psyop as well. So I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore. I could review that too.
I found your show the other day with the positive.
Oh, let's not go there. Okay.
No, I found it interesting. I want to talk about it.
All right,
I found it interesting. All right, because one is based on the information like Ray had about the reptilians. All right, and that's one question I had to skip on the survey because I haven't had that encounter, which is cool with me. But those that answered it, which was I think maybe 2,100 people, so many that took the survey. But again, the graph was incredibly skewed towards the positive, and there was a big part of that one that was unknown. But the negative encounters was small, and I certainly didn't expect to see that one on the reptilians. But then when I asked Ray, I said, "What's up with the large amount that is unknown?" And he said, "Well, most people said the same thing." What? He said, "Man, that the beings, the sight of them was terrifying, but they didn't do anything negative to them. But just seeing them was hard to handle." So that says a lot. I heard about, long before it become mainstream, I heard about not really the Dracos nearly as much as I'd heard about the Syrians. The ones that are the serpents that are they're here, actually, not just the serpents, the Nagas that were here, but the underground dinoids. I can't forget what they're called now. I heard a lot about them and how then you have this faction that come in and corrupted them. So those one like the certain beings like the I don't want to call it the Lazarus. The beings that said when they evolve forward, they actually have them looking like humanoids and what they would have evolved into. So it's just things need to be looked at, and it just shows. The reason why I brought this up is how much of the contact phenomenon is completely not true. What we're not being told the truth. I mean, like 90% of it.
I don't know. I don't know, Barry. I don't have those answers. So, I mean, I can promise you, everybody who thinks they've had an experience believes they've had an experience. You can't really argue with that. Yeah.
It's fine with me. It's not. I'm not here to judge other people's experiences, but I'm here to understand my own, and to express them. You know what I mean? I quit caring about that long ago. Just doesn't. It doesn't. You know what I mean? And so it's not for me to doubt other people's experiences. But when you have people in the media, they gain a lot of attention. I gained followings 3 times the size you and I have, and then you're lying to people. You've not had the experiences. That's crap. And those people need to ever be exposed, because what it's doing is making this whole field unacceptable to real scientists, and they don't take it serious. And we need science to bring this as a foundation. Science, all the answers? No. But it gives us a basis that is not so woo-woo. And we can at least start building some type of a tapestry out of this.
Okay. Sorry. Absolutely. Yeah. Long Island Bigfoot, thank you for that comment. He says we need shows like this that tackle real stuff for people who may go out there and get more than they bargained for, especially those boots on the ground, right? Boots on the ground people. And I know, right? So because Long Island Bigfoot, Mike, he's very boots on the ground. He and I were out there doing Bigfoot research together and just going out and doing all sorts of weird stuff up in Montauk, running around those woods late at night with James, and it was fun. He said, "You've given me the power to want to speak up on stuff I might not have in the past." So thank you. That's amazing.
I'll tell you what, I give credit to everyone who goes out and whatever you call it, boots on the road,
hooves on the ground. If you're looking for goat
I give credit to all y'all, because My black ass don't want to go out there and do it. So I commend you all for doing it. I don't even like setting up a tent. So yeah, I really appreciate all y'all that do that. It brings validity to it. You know, that's one of the main reasons I wanted to meet you, because I had found out what you did. I was like, oh, she's a field researcher, the real deal. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, and I know, like when I go to the mountains, somewhere like the Ascetti Ranch or somewhere remote as that, and they say, hey, we got Bigfoot out there, we got this and that. I'm definitely not laughing or turning a blind eye to that, or blind cheek, whatever you call it. When you get out there in the remote like that, like places you've been, man, anything could be going on. Walking into portals, screaming Sasquatch trying to trip you, like what happened to you or whatever, you know. Or to get eat up by gugwe or zombies or green-eyed monsters or
that's
whatever.
Why I do it. I'm ready, man. I'm in it to win it. I'm in it to win it, man. I'm bait. I don't mind being bait. I don't know. I just go out there and have fun, and I want to know for myself if this stuff's real. And let me tell y'all, it's real. It's real, and that's my reality. Okay, my reality, all this stuff is real. Now, everybody else's reality, y'all are living your own lives. And when people ask me about Bigfoot, well, now that I have shows, I talk about it. But before I had shows and everything, I knew that my friends were making fun of me for being a researcher and going out and looking for Bigfoot. And when they would ask me about Bigfoot, I would just say, they say, oh, is Bigfoot real? And I say, why don't you go find out for yourself? You know, it's my reality. But I knew that no matter what I said, they were going to keep making fun of me. So I didn't really care. And I didn't have as tough a skin back then as I do now. So, yeah, I was like,
well, you know, it's and, you know, it's standard. I think a lot of people in the audience would agree. It's easy to make fun of people doing this stuff or talking about this or call them crazy until something happens to you. Then it all changes. You start seeking out weird people like us to talk about it. You wake up that one night and those beings around your room. Or, you know, you see that UFO and all of a sudden you're missing a couple hours of time. You're 500 miles away from where you were, you know?
That's right. Jeff Townsend knows all about that. Hey, Jeff. He said Jess is a real boots on the ground girl. She is very brave. Thank you, Jeff. You know. And
Jeff's my bodyguard. That a term for field researchers? Educate me.
Yeah, it is. Well, we just absolutely, we say boots on the ground. That's what my team does. I know. I just recently heard one of my colleagues say that you shouldn't say boots on the ground if you're not in the military. And I say that's bull crap. Anybody can be boots on the ground. Okay. And I will debate that any day. Okay. And most of the people on my team are military and stuff. So I think it's just like, we don't need to be word police. Okay. That's just my personal opinion. I don't care what people call it. We're field researchers, y'all. And if people want to get technical on the terms and then like make out like we're being bad by saying we're boots on the ground, who cares? I'm just saying, who cares? We're just out there. We're just out there. It's not bad at all, but I'm just saying we're just out there doing field research, and y'all call it what you want to. Okay, everybody call it what you want.
You got technology with you too, don't you?
We do, absolutely. I think it's hilarious though. People get so worried about the wrong stuff. Okay, so ain't nobody got time for that. All right, ain't nobody got time for any of that. So, yeah, I mean, be hooves on the ground if you want. Okay, we're hooves on the ground if you're out there, like I said, looking for goat man. I don't know. There's too many ways to make just some jokes about this because this is really funny. But yeah, this has been a great show tonight, Barry. Thank you so much for all of your expertise and like.
I feel like I talked too much on this one because it's something I have a passion for, and I went too far on this one. But I think it's important, and I want to say again, anybody that can go out there in the audience, go check that place out. If you get a chance to go to one of the conferences, go check it out. You know, and it give you a chance to deal with some trauma, have some paranormal experiences, and it's just, excuse my language, damn beautiful out there. I mean, you know, whole way going out there. I was unprepared. It was 2 hours from Portland to get up there. Kept asking the guy, "Are we there yet?" No, about another hour and a half. You know, but it was cool. So check it out.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so going up there sometime. Yeah, I've been traveling the country. Like I've literally been all over the country the past few months. And it just doesn't stop. Thank you, Long Island Bigfoot. He was in the Army and he calls me boots on the ground. That's cool. No, you don't. You call me hooves on the ground. I heard you. I know, just kidding. We have too much fun up in here, y'all. So yeah, or paws on the ground, whatever. Boobs on the ground. I don't know, whatever you want to say.
Look, I'm finally looking over some of the views. That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah,
nice comments. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Really cool. So
awesome.
summing this up before we go, sum everything up. We know what the structure is. We know what it's doing. Okay, we come, especially when talking about it, to pretty much the same conclusions. You picked up a lot of the same stuff. You know, the things that's different will maybe be the abduction thing you picked up in there or something negative. So I don't know where that fits into the scope of things out there. Who knows? But for most of the stuff going out there is pretty positive, it seems like. You know, and around let's put it like this. Most of the stuff going on around the device, and I don't know how far it extends from Mount Adams. We know it hits a SETI, maybe other areas too, but I don't know how many miles outside it goes. But anyone within that field of energy is going to have pretty interesting life, I would think. You know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, my audience, you guys are so funny and so awesome. Yeah, Barry, you can never talk too much.
Thanks. Oh, I like your name, man. It reminds me of Johnny Quest, Ace Benon. I like that.
Yeah. Cool. Are you cousins with David Banner? I remember David Banner too, actually. So
Bill Bixby was the best.
Yeah. Right? Yes. Oh my gosh.
I was a fan of that show. I'll tell you, a couple of years ago, I met Lou Ferrigno. And I was a little disappointed because he just wasn't as tall as I come from the land of the giants. My siblings are 6'6.5" and 6'5". I'm only 5'11", but I'm used to tall people. And
you're 5'11".
I thought he'd be like 6'6". He's like maybe 6. He's like 6'3", maybe 6'2.5". He's not very tall. He's still pretty good shape for a 70-year-old guy, though. It's just neat to meet him. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Hey, I ran into Shaquille O'Neal one day. I like there's some real giants still walking this earth. Okay, absolutely. And Shaq's one of those. Nose to the ground. I think shutting it down with cornbread.
These police officers talking, and they said they were police officers and bowlers. It's 3 of them, and they said they go to this place and hunt each year. And one year, they're leaving, and the Sasquatch jumps in front of them and then jumps away. But they said when it landed, and they're saying we're all loaded, we're strapped, and we don't think we could have done anything to them. And they described this one as having the muscles that that's what I said were bowlers. He said, I bowl with a 16-pound or whatever. The biceps of this thing looked like it was a 16 bowling ball. He said, unreal.
Oh, wow.
No clavicle, like 6 feet on the shoulder breadth. And they say it jumped away. So they said, thank God. And the one guy said, I met Shaquille O'Neal, and this thing made him look like a baby.
Oh my gosh, no way.
I mean, I never met Shaq. I imagine
I have.
I used to have a friend that's a wrestler now. Well, we used to be friends when he lived here. He went to college here. Paul White, he's the Big Show in wrestling. He's a big dude. He's big. He wasn't as large as he is now, but he's tall, and he's just a big dude. Yeah. I introduced him to my friend Paul, and I was actually 1994. I'm at the liquor store. And he's like, you don't even say hello to me, man? I said, man, I didn't see you. And he's like, how'd you not see me? And he's driving to the liquor store, and he grabs his 40 ounce out of my hand. And Jessica,
you had a 40 ounce? You were drinking some 8-Ball, huh?
Actually, I think it was 4-5. I think it was Coke 4-5. This is 94. That's been a minute ago.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Where are we going at the end of the show? This has been a great show. And now it's turned into 40 ounces.
Lando Calrissian, you call me that. But you know, when he grabbed that out of my hand, he's holding that, and it looked like me holding a regular bottle of beer. We got outside, my friend Paul, his name was Paul too. My friend Paul's like, man, he's like, that's the biggest dude I've ever seen. I was like, yeah, he's good size. He wasn't a wrestler yet, though.
Oh my God.
Much better wrestler than basketball player, may I say.
He's a walk in the freezer. Yeah. Hey, Barry, Jeff said you're as cool as a walk in the freezer. Oh my gosh.
Oh, thanks, man. You got
Yes.
a nice audience. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Cosmic Mama says you got a great voice. You do have a great voice, and you
Hey, thank
do
you. A little
absolutely.
hoarse from coughing, but thank you. That's really nice.
Yes.
Thank you. It's much
Okay.
better to get so I want to get onions thrown at me, be like, oh, what? Like Night at the Apollo.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Y'all, okay. Barry, this has been awesome. I mean, to wrap it up, yes, let's wrap it up, okay, before we go. So this target was the, oh my gosh, the Ore Station device in Mount Adams, okay? And this was a blind target. That is technology for advanced civilizations. It's basically like, I drew, okay, so y'all, I drew it. I have my graphics were, my stage 3 graphics were on point. My data was showing that it is some sort of power generator or something like that. I don't know. What, Barry, what did I get right? What did I get right?
Right. I think what you said was, especially talking it with you, I think you nailed it. You did a great job again. Okay. Please stop being down on yourself. It's not like that.
I'm not down.
And just
I'm not down.
It's a power generator. It would take that to produce those orbs. All the things you said were correct, and much more going in line with what I thought it was and what John says it is. It's right there. It's another three-way.
Right,
yeah, it's a 3-way combining. And remember too, in all fairness, that's a pretty big target. And that you had to narrow down, and it's not, you don't know what the heck you're even looking at. You had no idea. So,
well, you asked me what I thought it was, and I was like, I don't know. What did I say? Something like
souls crashing to Earth. And you thought I was saying, no, you're wrong. And I wasn't saying that because for me, that meant souls coming or spirits coming through that portal. And I knew it would be hard for you to differentiate between what is the portal in Mount Adams versus the device. They're right there by each other. For all I know, the device is inside the portal, but I don't think so. I think they're separate. So, but they're right by each other there.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, they're here. And okay, and not only did we pick up on, we went over these devices in the mountains, but they made smaller versions of these in the pyramids. Okay, according to what John Vivinco said. So you guys, please go check out Barry's YouTube channel. That's Barry Littleton on YouTube, and his Patreon. He's got even more videos, y'all, on his Patreon. Okay. And so please go join Barry's Patreon. Let me pull it up right here.
And something else, anybody that's friends with us on Facebook, please check out the post I gave Jessica last night, what the target was. And in the comment sections, there's a few videos that all relate to this. It'll all tie right in. So.
Yeah. Anybody watching, if you guys want to follow me on Facebook, I have a public page that's Jessica, the Cryptid Huntress. But Barry is always tagging me on my other page, and that's the one where I have a dog man behind me. So you guys go friend me. I'll accept your friend requests. Okay, I got like 4,000 friends over there or something. I
never know which one of those to use to tag you in. It's funny you say that.
Well, you know, we got it. That's my public private one over there. Okay, so that's
okay. Sorry, I didn't know
the dog man one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. So I thought that was the cryptid one. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll make sure you use the other one now.
Yeah, that's the cryptid one. It is. Okay, so anyways, yeah. All of the stuff that we post goes on that Facebook page and on my public page. Well, not my public page, just kind of streams all my shows. So yeah. So anyways, thank you to everybody who was part of the live chat tonight, and to everybody that's listening on podcasts right now. I know I usually upload these a week or two after I do these on podcasts. So wherever you guys are listening to us or watching us on YouTube, thank y'all for being here. We really appreciate it. And these shows are a lot of fun. And we appreciate y'all. And I want to thank you. I want to give a huge thank you to everybody who gave a super sticker and a super chat tonight. Really Long Island Bigfoot really and Amy and Aussie Sue and Marinee. And just thank y'all so much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it. And Ryan Roll, I want to say, I hope that you feel better. He went to the dentist and got some teeth pulled today. I saw those comments in there as well. So I'll say a little extra prayer for you today. I hope you're feeling better. Yeah, okay. But Barry, do you have any final thoughts before we say goodbye?
No, I think we touched everything pretty good. Just thank you for doing the target. Thank you for allowing me to talk more than I normally would in any one of these sessions. So thank you. And thank you for the audience for not booing me out and for all
Okay.
the kind comments. So thank you, and good comments that we could take and kind of turn and add to a little bit. Thank you for that. It's about learning and growing, and I thought that's what this was. So thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you. Oh, Cryptoville's in here. Hey, Cryptoville, you too. And yes. Oh, so thank y'all. My moderators, y'all are so awesome. We got 100 likes, they're saying in here tonight. So I can't see it
Oh,
from
that's
from my
cool.
vantage point right now. So
That's cool.
thank you, Aussie Sue. That's thanks to everybody in here. Y'all are the best. We had a great show tonight. All right, y'all. Well, I will be back this weekend on Spaced Out Radio. I have Dark Hour Paranormal coming on Saturday night. Michael's going to be on there with me. So y'all come hang out. And then I'll be back on Sunday night as well. But man, I'm going to take tomorrow off. I'm tired. I'm tired, Barry. And
Yeah,
I'm going
get some
to.
rest. Don't burn it at both ends.
I won't. We've just I've been going and going since I got back from Montauk, and I haven't had a break yet. So I'm going to take tomorrow off.
And those
Okay.
those excursions are quite draining too. Even if they're fun, they're draining.
It was so fun. It was awesome. Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Thanks again for being here. From Barry and I both, we love all you guys. Y'all have a great night, and I will see y'all this weekend. Bye, Barry. Bye, y'all.